Give you guys a little something to think about to help your cats live longer, healthier, and happier lives. I'm Jay.
I'm Adrian.
And together we are the two crazy cat ladies. Today, guys, is all about pet food labeling, specifically our cat's food, of course, right? So when it comes to the label, we've talked a lot of times with you guys on these Think About It Thursdays. And if you guys have been following us for a while, you know all the kinds of stuff and things when it comes to cat food and the ingredients within your cat's food. But today we're going to specifically talk about labeling and the marketing techniques that these pet food and treat companies are able by law to use in order to deceive us as cat parents into thinking that what we're feeding our cats is good.
Yes. So I think it's interesting that we get all the time, we get people sending us, the ingredient list, and we get that it can be very, very confusing. So you guys know that the FDA actually regulates food labeling, but there's a non-regulatory agency
called AVCO. Most of us know who AVCO is. The FDA regulates very specific, very small labeling. Like it has to have the manufacturer's name and address on it, right? And it has to have like the proper ingredient list. But when it comes to the marketing on the labeling, right? So we're talking about the big, pretty pictures on the front and the words that they use on the front. They give most of that regulatory to a regulatory responsibility to AVCO, who is not a non-regulatory agency, so they are able to basically get away with all these loopholes.
Well, they create the guidelines, and once you start reading into them, you understand that they really do a good job of creating a lot of loopholes.
Right. So even for example, we did the research, guys. This is why we're doing Think About It Thursdays, so we could bring you guys the actual research on a lot of these things. This is from the FDA's website, right? So the FDA on pet food labels, on their ruling for pet food labels is very interesting. I encourage you all to go to the FDA site and look this stuff up and read it for yourself. It's very interesting.
So is that right here?
Yeah.
I was going to say they have a 25% rule if the words dinner, platter, entree, nuggets, or formula are used in the name of the cat foods. Only a quarter of the bag or can actually has to have like chicken or tuna.
Right, exactly. So if it says, for instance, tuna dinner for cats, it only has to have a fourth of that food has to include tuna, right? So that's one of many rules. What's really interesting is that the term flavor, which you'll see on a lot of these, tasty chicken flavor, that it does not even have, the FDA does not even have a percentage that they require if it says flavor, right? So if you are buying your cat a tuna flavor treat or a tuna flavored food, it does not actually have to include tuna. For instance, they say under the flavor rule, a specific percentage is not required, but a product must contain amount sufficient to be detected, meaning with respect to flavors, pet food often contains digests. We all know that word, right? It's nice. Which are materials treated with heat, enzymes, or acids to form concentrated flavors. Only a small amount of a chicken digest is needed to produce a chicken-flavored cat food, even though no actual chicken is added to the food. This is from the FDA's website, guys. FDA's website.
That's huge. Now, in 1995, the FDA required pet foods that included ingredients that were not fit for food.
So if it was the crappy ingredients that we've talked about before, the roadkill, the disease-dying
4D meats.
Yes, right. 4D meats.
those foods had to include a disclosure on the pet food label that said not high grade.
Isn't this interesting?
However,
this comes from Susan Thixton, guys. Go follow truthaboutpetfood.com. Susan Thixton got this article from her. She does all the research for us pet parents on the pet food labeling and pet food requirements.
And Pet Food, or Truth About Pet Food, is a consumer-funded
Correct.
A website.
Yeah.
Really important to know that it's not funded by the AVCO or the FDA.
So they said that, so in 1995, the FDA required that if you were using these nasty, dead,
Terrible,
disease, dying animals in food or anything that's not fit for human consumption, just not fit for food is what they called it, then you had to have a disclosure on there that says not high grade. So then we, as in 1995, we as pet parents could go and shop, and if it said not high grade and we wanted our cats to eat a better food, then we could just skip past that. We would know that. Well, in 1995, we can assume this law also deterred pet food manufacturers for food ingredients. And they actually said this for human food too, right? But it isn't law today for pet food because the FDA deleted this entire section of law in 1999. So they not only did they deleted the law only for pet food, not for human food.
Makes sense,
when
right?
it comes
Like give all of our pets all of our garbage. It is, and what's interesting too, think about it like this. Since the beginning, the last 20 years, we have seen absolute epidemics of terrible, terrible diseases for our companion animals. Unconscionable. Okay.
Yes. But what's even more interesting, guys, is, and this is where you have to understand that we can be deceived. Adrian just did this the other day, right? They can actually put pictures of, and you'll see this on Temptation Streets, guys. Go to the store and check out the Temptation Streets, or if you have them, look at it yourself. It'll have like a big fish on the front, and you're like, my cat loves those. Read the ingredients. There are not any fish in many of the treats and food. They can put whatever picture, a big nice steak, they could put chicken, they could put pictures on there that do not have to actually be included in the ingredients. It would be fall more under the flavor rule.
And another thing that I think is really deceptive for us is that when you're looking at ingredients, the ingredients are required to be listed in order of their pre-cooked weight. So
Right.
What that means is if it does say that chicken is the first ingredient, and a lot of these treats and foods will say, a real meat, a real protein is the first ingredient because cats are obligate carnivores, and somewhere we know that they need meat, right? That pre-cooked weight means that if rice is the next ingredient, there's a whole lot more rice in there than there is rendered
chicken, right? So we're saying chicken and rice, right? So let's say the first ingredient is chicken, the second ingredient is rice. We think, as cat parents, we're going to think, well, chicken is the first ingredient because they put it all over the thing, right? But what they do is they weigh that chicken. We know that animals, including ourselves, make up like 75% moisture, right? So they take that chicken, they weigh it, and they say this weighs more than the rice, so chicken goes first. But then they cook it, and especially processed to like 400 degrees. So now that chicken that used to look like this is about like this, about this amount in the pet food, right? So if you're feeding something and the first ingredient is chicken, but the second ingredient is rice, you could know that you're feeding your cat more rice than you are chicken.
Yes, bottom line. So this is really important. I think it's so important for all of us to know what we're putting in our cats' bodies. Food is so foundational. So 2 important resources, bookmark them right now.
Yes.
Truth About Pet Food.
Truthaboutpetfood.com.
What an incredible resource for all of us. If you're wondering about recalls, if you're wondering about sourcing, if you're wondering about how a lot of these foods will be bought by a much bigger company and then everything changes, right? You will get those alerts. You will stay informed about what is going in your cat's food. Pet Fooled is the documentary. Yes. We also encourage you guys to watch.
Fooled as in like pity the fool.
Pity the fool.
Like, I ain't no fool. Pet Fooled, Fooled. You can find it on Amazon. It's on Prime. It's on.
It's free on Tubi. I think.
It's on a lot of. I think it's even on YouTube. But you guys need to check that out. You need to take. It's about 60 minutes. It's 70 minutes long, and you will be. It will open your eyes. Really open your eyes to what they are doing in the pet food industry. We could go on forever, but this is where we want to leave you guys today because you can go and check out truthaboutpetfood.com. Go watch the documentary Pet Fooled, and you will be amazed at how many other things that pet foods are able to do to deceive us as cat parents.
And the great thing that's going to do is we could spend all day focusing on the negative, but really what this does is it gives us the tools to make better decisions to give our cats better, happier, healthier lives.
Yes.
Y'all, join us in about 20 minutes. We are going upstairs, or we're pouring
to our closet.
To our closet. We're pouring
Meowgaritas.
To hang out with the beautiful girls from Cat Behavior Alliance.
Yes, you have cat behavior questions. Come join us in about 20 minutes. We love you guys so much.
Happy
Think About It Thursday.
Meow.
And Cinco de Meow.
Bye, guys.